Right, welcome back. If you are tuning in, we're continuing our conversation talking about environmental issues, and particularly at a local government level, given that the local government elections are on the horizon, literally a few weeks away. And this is actually where most of the action happens in terms of stuff happening. If you talk about greenhouse gas emissions, they're happening at the local government level. So let's explore that a little bit more. We got people here in Sandton and also you on Twitter. And in fact, I've got one tweet here that's come through, Minister from Sepuma, who says, how is DEA exploiting broadband rollout to push messages to the community? We live in a digital world. Okay, so you can answer that question for him, and then we'll go to the floor.
We haven't really quite moved a great deal in the broadband rollout. As you know, that actually is still fully under implementation to roll it out to all other areas. But what we really use is all other means of technology. As I said earlier on, that we have these programs on our website. This very same discussion Peter, today is about informing the people. And I'd like to believe that everybody is watching, and therefore information then gets to the people. What is critical is the reaction back from the people, because word of mouth also goes, social media, which we are using on a continual basis. Our communications branch really tries to reach out to people. We do also have an awareness branch, part of our corporate services, that actually disseminate information. So definitely we'll be using the broadband as it's fully rolled out throughout.
Okay, let's go to the floor, and we'll take three in a row, starting with Ntabeleng on table number 14.
Good morning. I actually had two questions. My first question would be, you
better pick one that you want the most, because you only have time for one.
Okay, is there a possibility of another eco-town project like in Darayetu that we had in Harangua? Is there another possibility that we might have?
Eco-town.
And the other thing is that I am also one of the former beneficiaries, and I still feel there's still lots and lots of work to do.
Okay, so is there another eco-town development project on the horizon? Notrolo Msia is on table number 7.
Good morning. Minister, how is the Department of Environmental Affairs planning to integrate more stakeholders to prevent illegal wildlife trade in South Africa?
Say that again?
How is the department planning to integrate more stakeholders to prevent illegal wildlife trade in South Africa?
Illegal.
Okay.
Yeah, illegal.
All right, wonderful, thank you. And then table number 5, is that Mabore Lekhanyane?
Greetings to all. Medical waste disposal. We are having challenges, and we are rated as the filthiest in the whole country. Are we getting help from this? And the second question that I want to ask, between the private sector, health sector, and the provincial, who is careless in this department?
All right, so where are you that you're saying that you have the filthiest in the country?
We spoke about medical waste also.
Hello, give her the microphone back. Sorry? You said that medical waste disposal, we are rated the filthiest in the country. Where are you that you're rated so poorly?
According to statistics.
Yeah, which area?
Pardon?
Which area is that? Or are you saying the country?
The country.
We're the worst in the world?
Yes.
In the world?
In the whole world, we are the filthiest.
Okay, and then you're asking who is the most delinquent, the private medical practitioners or the provincial? Who is the most delinquent in this, contributing to this? Okay, the worst in the world. Okay, I don't know if you want to pick that up.
Thank you. Medical waste management is, again, we have concurrency with the Department of Health. Public health facilities are regulated currently by the Department of Health. We have been discussing an overall regulation of the industry centrally by the Department of Environmental Affairs, and those matters are being advanced in discussions at ministerial level. The key issue is more the operation of, for instance, incinerators in hospitals. If you operate them below 300 degrees Celsius or below temperature as specified, then you are unable to burn. You will find the needles and whatever the leg that was cut from an operation of an individual. And that gets into a general landfill site, which is where the problem is, or even the sanitary way and so on. It should not be going to the general landfill site. It should be going to either a hazardous landfill site and be treated according to specifications. We are not the worst in the world, but we are definitely significantly quite high in respect of poor management of that waste stream as a country, and we are aware of that. Thanks.
Can I add something very, very, Peter? There's a medical waste that's not necessarily within the realm of the hospitals and the clinics at this present moment. You know, many of our people in our homes in deep rural areas actually use sanitary towels now, of late, in a form of napkins for various reasons, which we all know. And because in those rural communities, they're still not quite like in a hospital where you have waste being collected and being disposed of and being treated elsewhere. You then have a whole host of just throwing around. And that ends up in rivers at times and so forth and so forth. So I think it's a kind of waste that for us is a real critical worry and concern. And that requires us, therefore, in the strategy that DG is talking about, together with the Department of Health, to work on a strategy to reach out to that waste which is actually being thrown out by our own society elsewhere where they don't have facilities. So that's part of the strategy that we're dealing with. It's included in the strategy.
Okay. In Daloyetu, good example of eco-town development. Is that something like that on the horizon?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Let me just say that this eco-furniture, by the way, is what DG referred to. It's a very creative way of adding value to the invasive and alien species that we collect, that we cut out. Our people are very passionate about this. Where there are numbers, huge numbers of wood that has been cut, we do, school furniture, addressing and putting learners behind desks who never even had desks, working with the Department of Education. But we do coffins, by the way, as well, meant for the indigents. People who cannot afford these 60,000, 500,000 or so coffins. Good, very good looking coffins. We do walking sticks, we do whatever. So Harankua, the scope is unlimited. Right now we are looking at Eastern Cape to establish a factory in Eastern Cape because we don't have one there. We've asked the Premier to provide the facility. But once we have covered all these other provinces and there's still adequate material, we are certainly looking forward to increasing the numbers because they do appoint people. Ntabeleng is our manager at the Harankua Furniture, is that? No?
Okay. And then
Yes,
this
is that
question
true?
about integrating more stakeholders to prevent illegal wildlife trade in South Africa.
Well, I think, again, this is an area where we are currently working with multiple stakeholders, government in terms of the security cluster departments, province and even municipalities. But we have been, in terms of the new approach in respect of strengthening the strategy, we're trying to reach out to communities because communities are the actual owners of the wildlife that is conserved in our protected areas, whether they're national parks or provincial parks. So there is a greater opportunity of that strengthening of the stakeholders in the respect of the public in general, and also private sector and the NGO sector in respect of contribution to make sure that we do have both technologies to detect and prevent people even getting into our parks to poach some of our indigenous species, whether they are rhinos or other species in terms of vegetation.
All right.
Get
MMC.
more funding, so
Yeah, yeah.
we'll then expand the program. Environmental monitors are here in this room with us today. The black mambas.
Ah, right. I saw them in the
women.
uniform.
We saw them in uniform. They're only women, only group. They started on their own. So if there are initiatives again that we can work with private sector for funding and cooperation of that nature, we're looking forward to that. But with a bit of more money,
Yes.
one day we can actually increase this program.
MMC, this question for you. I know Tswane is quite clean, but Musadi Wakopele says, environment, as he says, most municipalities remain very dirty. What can be an optimal waste management solution? And this coupled with, I saw a story that we did recently about raw sewage pouring out, and this just seems to be a theme in quite a few municipalities. And I guess this just exacerbates the problem, doesn't it? Yeah.
I don't think Tswane is that dirty at all.
Yeah, and that's why I said I know that Tswane is quite clean, but
Yes.
municipalities generally, what do they do to manage? If this person is feeling like, a lot of municipalities are quite dirty, what can be an optimal waste management solution? What are you doing right in Tswane then, for example?
In Tswane, what we do with waste, we've got EPWP, who is cleaning the city and even in the townships on a daily basis. They go around and do the litter picking there in the city center itself. And that is why I say I really don't agree that the city is dirty.
Right.
Yes, maybe Marabastad, we also do, from time to time, go to Marabastad, where you know how Marabastad is. It's like a free-for-all market. During the day, you cannot clean there. So the only time we clean Marabastad is really at night. And I think our EPWP group is doing very well in keeping the city clean.
Steve Chwete, what challenges are you facing in keeping the municipality clean?
We are actually the cleanest, or shall I say. That is well documented, and that is why we became the first runners-up in this latest competition. But I must say that it is all about the programs that we have in place to sustain, ourselves. She has just spoken about EPWP. It is running very well. But also the public participation, wherein you do not only bring members of the community, be it individually or in terms of groups, but you also take it to where it matters most, like our primary schools. They are on board. In actual fact, the triple P that I spoke about was mainly in reference to it, because competitions are taking place on cleanliness, and they compete, they win prizes. It becomes a way of life. I can say it is almost there in the curriculum.
Peter, remember what I said earlier on, that I said ours as DEA is to support the municipalities working with COCTA to move towards an optimum picture that we are really looking for in the ultimate end, is a zero landfill site, zero waste at landfill site. But as I said earlier on, that we are moving gradually from where we were, below 50% of waste collection, back then before 1994, we are now at more than 86% in this whole country. And that's why some of the municipalities will find that they're becoming cleaner and cleaner. So we are moving along with them. The issue here is to ensure that the whole value chain of waste is actually addressed. And that's what we are doing in all other municipalities. So I'm saying, even where people see this littering happening and so forth, you must know that in that municipality or some of the municipalities who are beginning by refurbishing and reworking or closing down, they already filled up landfill sites so that the collection point, then it becomes much neater. People in the process collect, reuse, recycle so that there's zero waste that ends up in the landfill site in those small municipalities so that there isn't a need of having litter all over. And we are also having to call for our people not to just throw rubble anywhere. I mean, there are countries where people are very conscious of even the small little paper that you have in your hands. And so that message needs to reach our people as well to say, let's not litter so that our towns look good. So I'm saying it's a road map that we have. There will be in this country one of these days where we actually have no litter in the cities as we work together towards that direction. I'm saying we are 0, we're 50s, now we are on the 86%.
All right, let's talk a little bit about these landfill sites and where a lot of this waste gets dumped. We see a lot of people going there to collect waste to try and make a bit of a living, but their safety sometimes comes into question. I mean, some of these, they rush and chase the trucks so that they can get the first pickings, and we've seen people getting injured. How are we addressing that?
They are called waste pickers. Waste pickers. Let me start. I think the colleagues will move in. In the Johannesburg municipality, they've already addressed, gone a whole long way in addressing this issue of waste pickers. We have registered waste pickers in this country, 62,124 who are registered. And these are the people that you're talking about. Some just pushing these heavy loads and so forth. We are at this present moment in the process of procuring in support of those people some of the tools of trade that will help them against protection, against this health hazards, getting them to have better trolleys, better equipments and so forth, so that, because they are really helping to clear the landfill side. So we had hoped that in a short space of time, would be able to be handing over these facilities to this. But it doesn't end there. We want them to be integrated in the municipalities so that they become part of municipal systems. And that, on that note, we are working with COCTA. And I think in the towns, the colleagues can talk about.
Well, let's talk about City of Tshwane, because you've got a sizable number of people that are doing these kinds of things, waste pickers.
Yes, there is. And we are also trying to actually formalize them. But like I said, our people take long to understand and to accept, this formalization that we want to do with them. So it's an ongoing, process. We talk to them, educate them, and yes, there's a lot of them at the landfill sites. But I think also what will stop them from going to the landfill sites is when everybody, each and every household, start recycling waste, and the recyclable waste is taken to the correct place, and there won't be recyclable waste that they pick up at the landfill site.
And that's a great thing, and this is one of my bugbears, and I'm going to put it to you, Executive Mayor. I'm in my townhouse. I love wine. I've got these wine bottles, and Monday they come and collect the rubbish from my house. I don't know where to put these bottles. I have no idea. I start phoning around to try and get someone. Where do I recycle bottles? No one can tell me. Why am I in that situation?
Well, I think this is one area where we really need to do some homework. Because even when you look at the recyclables, bottles are discriminated. They will tell you that this is what we want, and then they will count. And then when it comes to bottles, we are told how dangerous they can be. I think you're quite right that this is one area. But of course, it doesn't mean that you will find them thrown all over, Yes, they are picked, they are stored, but in terms of recyclability, I don't think we have done well. I'm being honest.
I'm going to ask somebody there to talk
who's
to that
there?
person.
Who's there?
Mark Gordon. putting you on the spot. Quickly stand up and say something. He deals with that part of policy.
Thanks, and good morning. In terms of glass recycling, we have a very good initiative called the Glass Recycling Company that recycles, I think, about 60 to 70% of glass in South Africa. And the idea is that we would be formalizing more regulations in terms of sorting of waste at a municipal level. And we're busy with that with COCTA now in terms of a date when we will decide on implementation for South Africa in terms of a regulation for sorting of waste at source.
All right, I'm glad you've got the microphone in front of you because this is my big thing. So we do have quite a good rate actually of glass recycling, but this is like your bottlers and so on and so forth. But citizens, we're just not getting it at this stage, and I'm wondering how do we change that culture? I want to, and I just can't find a place to put these bottles. So you've got to help us comply.
Yeah, so Peter, it's a matter of the carrot and the stick. It's the incentives to do it and the regulations as well as the awareness. So in terms of the awareness to the citizenship of South Africa, the question is, are people aware that it makes good business sense to recycle? And you would say yes, I think from your own convictions, right? Yeah. So the next step is, so where do you take your stuff? Now, in most municipalities, there are drop-off centers. You've heard the examples of many buyback centers, many recycling centers, transfer stations, and so forth. We've just recently been looking at a waste application for cell phones now, so to make it easier to find these drop-off centers. But a lot of the retail sectors are coming to the party now in terms of the pick and pays and so forth, to put in place these facilities. But I think the issue of compliance is that the next step for South Africa is to make sure that municipalities have the back-end infrastructure. So when we do pass such a regulation, on the next day, municipalities will have the infrastructure to deal with the recycled waste streams. Thanks.
All right, I live in hope. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go to table number 12, Vusi Shabalala.
Yes, I'm right here.
Okay, there you go.
Yes. I hear all this awareness that's being done in the communities, and there are a lot of people who are saying, yes, I do want to recycle, yes, I do want to support this environment, but in villages where services are not being conducted, where diapers are a national problem, they cannot decompose, you don't have any place where to throw them, they're not recyclable, so people just end up throwing them all over the place. Is there a solution for somebody who's sitting at home right now and saying, what do I do with my diapers since there are no collection services at the moment? Thank you.
Okay, that's one question. Let me get a couple more. And then Wiseman Simelane is somewhere. Where are you? There we go. If you could stand up, we'll get a microphone to you. Wiseman Simelane.
Yeah, well, I'm appealing to the minister to assist our municipalities, City of Johannesburg in particular, with their not so fruitful fight against rats.
Yes.
We've got a problem in Alexandra in particular with rats. You know, they continue to let us down, and we are appealing, you know, that this must come to an end. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, and some of them are epic sizes as well, aren't they? Okay. All right. This doesn't have a person or a name, but they want to ask this question. Tell us more about women and waste management. Okay, so let's deal with those three issues. I'm not sure who's going to pick up what. Let's start with women in waste management, actually, because we've been talking about the youth. What about the role of women?
Well,
Yeah.
I think women are actually the ones that are doing the,
Majority of
best. The majority is they are in waste. And they are the ones that are recycling. Even the bottles that you were talking about, it's our grannies and our mamas there at home who do recycling about these bottles. And then they call Consol Glass to come and pick them up, and they get something for it. So I think women are very much involved in the waste.
All right. So what about these rats in Alexandra? Hey.
Peter, the critical question here again is how we really do not do separation at waste, how we let waste lie around anywhere and all over. You will not talk about rats in any part of the country. There's a reason they follow that pattern, because that's where waste management is not being done at the optimum. And there's a reason to that. It has to do with the way, the pest settlement pattern there. The dustbins are there. I mean, I've been to Alexandra to go and clean up myself. The kind of waste that we found there was just not looking good at all. So it is important, therefore, that with the municipality of Johannesburg, we attend to that area. And I know that the MEC, Leboga Maile, is having a program that's called Bontle ke Botho. And it's focusing mainly also on Alexander, to remove such waste that's lying anywhere else. In Randfontein, we have gone to the hostel, we're removing it, everything. And there's a new buyback center, by the way, that we've constructed. We're opening it up in about a week's time or so, where there's such rubble. So it's important to attend to that, and that's exactly what we're doing together with our municipalities.
Can we go back to Wiseman, because you're being accused actually of being the ones creating the problem with your practices. And I just want to know, is it as simple as that? If everybody in Alexandra just put their rubbish in the right places, that you wouldn't have this problem?
Well, I think the problem is with pick it up. You know, they are not picking up the rubbish, on time.
Okay.
They will, at times they will go on strike, for months.
Yes.
And that contributes, to the rights, that we are having in Alexandra.
Okay, so you're doing your bit, but Pick It Up is letting you down. So now we're going to bring it back to the municipalities.
Thank you very much, Peter. I think we are here to explore opportunities also, not only to talk about what we're doing. I want to challenge the last speaker, to really venture into this space, to say, here are job opportunities here. Here are opportunities of putting together cooperatives and deal with the challenges that are there. I can tell you, where there is no collection, there are more job opportunities. Communities can come together, groupings, individuals, they can actually start to do something. We had a very successful summit in our municipal area called Revitalization of the Township Economy. Among other things, we were encouraging people to explore ways and means of turning challenges, into opportunities. I think you have the greatest opportunity there.
So you will pay them to help you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
They can visit us.
All right. And then,
many do come and study good practice.
Okay. And I'm saying, particularly in the rural areas, diapers are a national problem. What do we do?
That's the diapers I was referring to earlier on, Peter. When I was talking about medical waste.
Right.
Because it's that kind of a lack of an infrastructure in rural communities. I think we've dealt with that question a little earlier to indicate that we're working with the Department of Health to create this system as well as the infrastructure that's necessary within the regulatory framework that we are currently doing.
Okay, let's go to table 10, Prince Murake. Table number 10. There we go.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Minister, my concern is based on the issue that has been spoken about quite a number of times about government motivation in terms of helping out with waste that is being put together by Transnet. Are we really winning the fight to get Transnet as a parastatal to work hand in hand with the department?
Okay. Do you understand that question?
I think it's hazardous waste.
Hazardous waste. Okay. All right. And then table number 3, Snowy Makudu.
Thanks. Mine is a comment.
Okay.
I think to the department, they're doing a great job in terms of empowering youth. I heard one youth saying they don't know what it's been done. I think if you see, there are several people in the room that are wearing Extended Public Works Program uniform. So those are the ones that are speaking on behalf of the department. The second suggestion is that if we can look at the sustainability plan, that in the last months of the youth jobs in West, how do we actually have cooperatives that can tap into the industrialization plan for the DTI? Thank you.
Okay. Just before we get answers, can we talk to one of these EPW youth? Is there anyone here? Where are you? Stand up. That one who's not afraid to speak. Okay, so what I want to know from you, so that we can get an understanding for the viewers at home.
Yes.
Before you got involved in the program, what was your situation? What are you doing, and how has it changed your life?
Okay, my name is Kosatu, first of all, Ngumalo.
Is that your real name, Kosatu?
Yeah, all the way from Pumalanga area, where first of all, before I was employed in this program, I was just going around trying to start some businesses, but I became touched when I heard about rhino poaching. I started to follow the programs, trying to understand what's going on. Then I was interested to be part of the group who will fight for for our country, because I realize that our economy is going to drop down when we don't have any of our rhinos. And it's not only rhino issue, but we have also some other environmental issues. We find that people are going down for deforestation. They destroy the trees, and we're supposed to take care of our trees. That's why I was motivated to be part of the people who can stand and fight for this environment. So,
how did it change? How did it? Okay, hang on. How has your life changed now as a result of this? Because we want to get a sense of the impact that these programs are having.
Oh, the change that I want to see?
No, how did it change your life personally?
Okay. Oh, now I'm a professional. Now I'm a businessman, because the money that I earn from this program, I'm investing in my business.
Okay.
I'm having a business now, and I'm growing.
All right, wonderful. Okay.
That's a very good.
All right. Is there another one who wants to give me a quick testimony? Yeah. All right. Okay, say your name and where you are.
My name is Mohamedi Twane, and I'm from CITES, South Africa. I'm an alumni. I'm currently a project coordinator. Well, briefly, what I have gained in CITES, what we inculcate in young people is to volunteer. So our mission is to reinstate the values of sustainable environment in our country. It's a global issue, and part of the leadership that has been given to our youth, that is exactly what we've been doing in primary schools, and teaching young children that it's not something that you gain from when you're in matric or when you're in university, but it's a life value, it's a life principle that if you take care of your environment, it will take care of you. So from primary school, and also dealing with the community in general and helping the community understand that we need to preserve our government, we need to preserve our environment. For instance, I find that in my community, I'm from the West Rand in Kyrgyzstan. Our uncles who do the recycling and reusing of the waste, they do it to elevate poverty because they don't have knowledge about such things. So it's part of our responsibility to inculcate the skills, the knowledge, and personally for me, I'm still doing it, although I'm in a different department. So yes, we're dealing with a whole lot of things.
Well, it's good to hear young people getting stuck in. Thank you very much indeed for those testimonies. Let's look at those questions then. Hazardous waste. Prince Morake raised that issue.
Yes, do you want to come in?
Okay. Well, Minister, I was going to suggest that we alert the colleague that there is an industry plan for each sector, and Transnet would have different types of waste streams. So I was not certain about what were you exactly referring to?
Let's find out first. Is it probably from the Northern Cape?
Is it
do you want to get a micro? Stand up again. We'll get a microphone to you.
No, I am from Gauteng, but maybe I do have a resemblance of a Northern Cape.
Ooh, he's from Gauteng. Yeah.
I'm not aware.
So each sector's got their own way. Okay. All right. And then Mayor Snowy made a suggestion as well.
Oh yes, Mayor Snowy comment about.
Yes.
You want to touch on that? Please?
Yeah.
Yes, I think Snowy's question relates to sustainability. For the public employment programs, there are opportunities to exit people to formal employment or to start up their own businesses. And I'm hearing yours as a suggestion that probably with the must be cooperatives to sustain the youth and waste initiative, in which case I guess the department must work with the municipalities to conclude that arrangement, because one, they would be providing a service to the municipality in terms of collection and continuous awareness raising, because partly what we are hearing on waste problems or challenges that we have, it's very much about consciousness and people being aware that they should separate waste at source, and the municipality being able to provide the facilities for those separation of those waste streams. But if cooperatives then are available and have organized themselves to provide that service, and then link to the recycling companies, then they would be able to have an income that both in terms of taking their waste to where they will get money for it. But at the same time, also still inculcate a culture of avoidance, because we can also avoid creating waste. It's not always an option that you create waste.
We currently have 3,577 young people who are involved throughout the country in youth in jobs. We have not quite covered all the municipalities. And I guess what Snowy is raising is that let's cover all the municipalities, because they do good work. We no longer call them people who are collecting rubber, by the way, they are artisans. Because it is a science to actually manage a landfill site. You need to know what to separate from what, and what is degradable, what is non-degradable, and so forth. So that training continuation will definitely take place, also depending on the budgets, depending on the areas where the need is high as we move on.
Okay. But back to our tables. Number 14, we'll find Mpho Mohale.
Thank you, Peter, and thanks, Honorable Minister and the DG. and other colleagues. As they said, my name is Mpom Hale. I'm from Ekuruland Municipality. My question should be quick. In the past few years, we used to have a program called Buisaibek, and I understand, Minister, you tried to touch on it. You said it didn't go very well. But there, you had a process where communities would come and apply for an infrastructure. I understand that now you have got your EPIP projects. What I want to know is how can the communities and the municipalities tap into that? Do you identify the municipality and go into them? Or maybe can we as municipalities or communities approach you if we want infrastructure programs? What I like about the EPIP is that it's broad. It's not only looking at waste, it also looks at other issues of environment. But what we want to know, how do we then approach that level? Do you have a process whereby we can come in and say we want to start these projects and then you can come and partner with us? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for that question. Nkululeko is at table number 10.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to ask the Minister to assist with regard to the building of recycling plants or waste buybacks in the townships, because we see their location mostly are in the suburban areas, and that creates obviously difficulty and discourage households, to recycle. I am involved already in that space of eradicating of illegal dumping. And what I've observed is a lot of potential when it comes to recycling. However, we get discouraged when you look at the miles that we have to travel to submit.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much indeed, Nkululeko. Table number 10, Gift Malapane.
Mark must be ready as well.
Okay. Gift Malapane, are you there?
My name is Pielo. I'm not Gift Malapan. Gift Malapan is moved, ne?
Oh, but, okay. You've taken over.
I'll present him actually. Sorry for that inconvenience. What was the question for you?
That's what we want to know.
Oh. Okay, I will talk about mine. Eh?
All right.
Okay. Me, I'm from Proteatlan Extension 2, Soweto. Ne? Currently, I'm working at the program called Josie at Work. So we as Josie at Work, we always go to households and give people plastics to recycle. They are these green plastic bags. They wrote there separation at source. Ne?
Right.
So we would like to ask our government to put more project in our society, in our communities, because when you go to those households, members, they ask, we want jobs also. Why can't we be employed? Who employed you? You see, so it becomes a challenge for them to separate their waste, because they even ask us the question that what are we doing with their waste? Then we are telling them also that we are trying to save our country, as we don't want everyone to split waste everywhere actually.
Okay, thank you very much for that testimony. So what he's saying is actually, I've done well, and others are asking, how do we duplicate me? We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll get some quick answers on some of the questions that we've just heard, and we'll look again at your Twitter feed.